the Chairman, Governing Board of the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency, who is also the Commissioner for Finance in Lagos State, Mr. Rabiu Olowo. Can we please applaud him? Also, though virtually, we also have another member of the board who is also the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget in Lagos State, Mr. Sam Egube. Governing Board of the Public Procurement Agency in Lagos State are the members. Notably, Mr. Folusho Mustafa and Mrs. Folusho Onobowale. The Director General of the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency, Mr. Fatai Forwate. In the Lagos State Service here present, Kabiesi Oba Abdulwasi Omogbala, represented by the Baale Oroke Land and Secretary Oba Oniroyin Council, Chief Bashir Arowolo Afolami. All our contractors and stakeholders here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I say good morning. Thank you all for being here. And indeed, it will be a very brisk event because we know as contractors, but more importantly, the head of service had to quickly come down here. He has about 3 other state events this morning that he has to attend to. With that already done, I'd like to invite to formally welcome each and every one of us at this event, the Director General, the Public Procurement Agency in Lagos State. Please put your hands together for Mr. Fatai Idowu Onofowote.
Good morning. Yes, let me sincerely appreciate the MC for the already established. Permit me to please stand on the established protocol to save some time. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the annual general meeting / Stakeholders Forum of Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. This annual general meeting and Stakeholders Forum is organized by this agency as a platform for presenting our scorecard to stakeholders and the general public, and to interact with you on issues relating to public procurement in Lagos State with a view to assisting the agency to enhance the public procurement process and achieve improved compliance to due process by stakeholders. Thus, today's event offers the agency an auspicious opportunity to present its achievements and challenges to our teaming stakeholders. The Lagos State Public Procurement Agency formally commenced operation in April 2014 after a 2-year transition period between the State Tenders Board and PPA. The activity of the agency was mirrored after the 2011 Public Procurement Agency Law. Since then, the agency has engaged with various categories of stakeholders whose support and cooperation must be secured for the successful and effective implementation of the Public Procurement Law of Lagos State. I'm happy to report that today, a large number of key stakeholders have not only accepted the reality of embracing the public procurement process, but have also become advocates of due process in public procurement in the state. Indeed, I wish to seize this opportunity to commend the support and cooperation of a number of stakeholders over the years, which has enabled the agency to achieve the modest achievement it has recorded so far. But I must also point out that many stakeholders are yet to come to terms with the change with the agency, which the agency has been empowered by the law to bring into procurement process in the public. Hence, we shall continue to engage with all segments of stakeholders so as to fully carry everybody on board in our drive to further deepen compliance with the public procurement law and to enhance the culture of due process and the public procurement in Lagos State. In line with the dynamic nature of public procurement, the agency has continued to review its laws, the guidelines, the regulation, and processes in response to the dynamics in the operating environment so that the objective of setting up the agency can be achieved. From the inception of the agency up to the middle of 2019, the agency has carried out its regulatory function in public procurement manually, relying heavily on use of papers and fiscal filing system in its documentations. But as at the second quarter of this year, 2021, a total of 56 NDAs have been onboarded into the e-procurement platform of the agency. This means that the entire procurement process from the beginning to the end is operated online. This has tremendously assisted in enhancing transparency, openness, accountability, inclusiveness, value for money, and above all, the ease of doing business with state government. The system has also greatly reduced all forms of fiscal interactions between contractors and officers saddled with procurement function in the ministries, departments, and agencies of the state government and the procurement agency, since the channel of transacting business with government is now with a smartphone or computer, which can be operated from any location the contractor chooses to be. In the remaining 2 quarters of this year, the agency intends to onboard another set of 51 MDAs onto the e-procurement platform to further ease public procurement system in the state. This has been made possible by the gesture of Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, who granted approval to the agency for onboarding a total of 97 MDA onto the e-procurement platform this current year. So as I speak, 46 have already been integrated onto the platform, while additional MDs are being built in terms of capacity to be able to come on board and operate their activities online. In demonstration of the commitment of the state government to give everyone a sense of belonging, the agency has relaxed some of the requirements for registration, especially by small and medium-scale enterprises, so that they can also bid and compete for award of contracts by state government, thereby benefiting from business opportunities that are available in the state. Recognizing the important position occupied by the agency in the state government's drive towards enhancing ease of doing business in the state, the agencies has continued to train procurement officers deployed to MDAs of the state to ensure that they are well-grounded for effective discharge of their duties as procurement personnel. However, the officers are also always encouraged to learn more on their own to complement the efforts of the state government in building capacity for improved delivery of services to the public. Similarly, in demonstration of our commitment towards ensuring that stakeholders are not left behind, as the agency commenced migration from manual to online procurement process, the agency organized training programs on e-procurement, for some categories of stakeholders last year, 2020, to enable them benefit from the new system. I'm proud to say that the feedback we have been receiving as a result of this gesture has been encouraging. And also to further enhance the ease of doing business with state government, the agency has entered into collaboration with some MDAs and some private sector organizations to facilitate ease of payment of taxes, levies that are due to government by contractors, suppliers, and service providers. With the collaboration, it is now possible for contractors, suppliers, and service providers to make necessary payment to the covers of government using the online payment platform without having to enter into the bank. This has made payment to government free of stress, thereby encouraging people to make payment promptly in the comfort of their homes and offices. We are also not unaware of the fact that sometimes when contractors are awarded contracts, they may not have enough funds to pay the statutory deduction associated with the contract, hence, so that they can commence the implementation of contracts. So as a result of this, they have been given opportunity to request for deduction from source. So to help mitigate the challenge, the agency in collaboration, we have worked with STO and CIA to devise strategy that allows contractor to authorize the deduction of such payment from source when payment for the job is to be made to contractor by the state government. This strategy has helped us to avoid delay, and this has speeded up the pace of contract implementation in the state. Also, in line with statutory mandate of the agency, as a regulator of public procurement in the state, it is our responsibility to visit all MDAs in the state and to carry out post-procurement review of their procurement process. And we have been carrying these activities out since the commencement of this year and even before now. The objective is to ensure that MDAs comply with due process in their procurement process, while agency points out any area of deviation so that necessary adjustment can be made. A report of this exercise is therefore compiled by the agency and is communicated to relevant authorities. The agency, in collaboration with some other relevant MDA, also carried out inspection visit to project sites with a view to ensuring that the execution of contracts awarded by state government is in alignment with terms of reference of such contracts. This is done to ensure that government gets value for money expended on various contracts. I wish to conclude. On behalf of the agency, I want to express our appreciation to Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, this Honorable Speaker, and members of the House of Assembly, particularly Chairman House Committee on Procurement, the Board of Public Procurement Agency, the Head of Service, Mr. Akim Oriokunola, as well as all accounting officers in the MDAs of the state for their continued support towards the success of the activities of the agency. I also want to thank other numerous stakeholders, contractors, multilateral organizations, suppliers, service providers, professional associations, development partners whose support has been so valuable to the agency in discharge of its function. On behalf of the Lagos State Government, I wish to welcome you to this annual general meeting at Stakeholder'S Forum. Thank you for your rapt attention.
Please, can we put our hands together once again for the Director General, Mr. Fatai Idowu Onofowote. Thank you very much, sir. Going forward with the program, like I said, is going to be very brisk, knowing that we have a loaded day in Lagos State today. I'd like to invite for a goodwill message on behalf of the stakeholders at this event and those that are not able to be here at this event. the representative of Open Constructing Partnership, OCP. Please could you welcome to the microphone Nkechi Coker.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Please, where's Nkechi?
Can anyone hear me?
Nkechi, are you here? Okay, since Nkechi is not here, I hope we're ready with the chairman of the governing board, because he's already been here since about 10 a.m., though virtually. The head of service, sir, the SSG ably represented, distinguished guests,
Can you hear me?
ladies and gentlemen, we will be taking a goodwill message by the chairman of the Public Procurement Agency Governing Board, who is also the Honorable Commissioner for Finance in Lagos State. Please, can you put your hands together as we are being joined virtually by Mr. Rabiu Olowo. Can we please applaud? Beg your pardon, Dr. Rabiu Olowo. Are we ready for him? Dr. Olowo will be joining us.
Thank you very much, Busola. I hope everyone can hear me. I hope you can hear me too. Hi, Busola. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
Busola,
Dr. Olowo, we can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Thank you.
We are all expecting
Thank you
to
very
hear
much.
from you at this point. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Under the patronage of Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor, I wish to welcome everyone to this annual general meeting. I wish to recognize the Chairman, House Committee on Procurement, the Head of Service, members of the State Executive Council here present, particularly members of the Governing Board of the Public Procurement Agency, the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, the Honorable Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General, and the entire members of the Governing Board, the members of the Body of Permanent Secretaries, our Royal Highnesses here present, the Director General, Lagos State PPA, Chief Executive Officers of parastatal organizations in Lagos State, council managers from the local government, directors, management staff of PPA, and not to leave out the resource persons here today. I'd like to particularly recognize most especially our contractors and our service providers who have helped us till today to deliver governance through service to the people of Lagos State. And I'm not leaving out our procurement officers in the state for their very good work. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome everyone present here today, both physically and virtually, to this maiden annual general meeting of the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. As you are aware, in times past, what we've always had as Stakeholder'S forum, but for the first time, from a due point of accountability and transparency, owing ourselves up to ensuring that our stakeholders, particularly our contractors, that we put forward a better forum to deliver accountability. And that's why today's meeting is the annual general meeting as statutorily required of organizations like ourselves. This annual general meeting has become very necessary in demonstration of our commitment to accountability in the implementation of the public procurement law of the state. We are convinced that the agency has done quite well in the discharge of its responsibilities of regulating public procurement in Lagos State. And also, we recognize that there's significant room for improvements as well. And every day we are on the journey towards continuous improvement. Hence, we are confident to come before stakeholders, players in the public procurement, to present to you a report of activities and achievements for the period under review. Copies of the year 2020 annual report of the agency will be unveiled and presented to stakeholders at this event to underscore the commitment of this administration to openness, transparency, accountability in public procurement. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the objective of the annual general meeting is to assess the performance of the agency so far and chart a new course of action that would enhance the performance of the agency, that will reduce and eliminate areas of challenges that may be present in the public procurement process in Lagos State. We want to commit here today that our continuous drive for transparency, for accountability, cannot come without getting input, getting criticism from people who participate or who are far or near stakeholders in Lagos State public procurement. So I want to use this opportunity to encourage everyone to give us such feedback so that we can use it as a tool of continuous improvement. I therefore urge you all to feel free to contribute to the discourse, and I would like to assure you and all members of the governing board and the management of the agency will be most obliged to accept the objective suggestions and ideas that we expect from the diverse range of stakeholders. We believe that this will facilitate improvement in the procurement process in Lagos State. I wish to restate the commitment of the governing board and the management of the agency to continuous improvement of the public procurement process in the state. The administration of Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu is committed to ensuring ease of doing business in the state, and the agency is to play a leading role in this regard. The agency has embarked on massive deployment of technology and automation of its procurement processes, and today it takes the agency less than 30 minutes to get a contractor registered on its database. We believe that with technology, a more agile, we have a more transparent, we have a more efficient public procurement agency that will deliver service or that will facilitate service to stakeholders within the Lagos State public procurement cycle. Lagos State government, as we are all aware, is the hub of commerce. I think you need to mute those who are not talking. I am incapable of concentrating with this. Usola, can you ensure everyone is muted? Okay. Lagos State government, as we are all aware, is the hub of commerce and enterprise, not only in Nigeria, but in the entire West African sub-region. And this places a huge burden and a serious challenge on the state. Hence, the need for continuous innovation and deployment of creative strategies that will enhance the ease of doing business and make the state the choice destination of investors from all parts of the world. And from the words of the Director General of PPA, we are giving even much more focus to supporting small and medium enterprises to also play a role in delivering service and governance to the state. We have done, quite a lot in terms of reviewing, the requirements that would enable small, medium-scale enterprises also participate with or together with the big companies. It is for this reason that the state has reluctantly continued to engage and collaborate with stakeholders, including members of the organized private sector, contractors, service providers, professional bodies, and development partners to develop creative strategies that would enable the state keep pace with increasing demand for public goods and services by the people in a cost-effective and sustainable manner. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to assure stakeholders of the commitment of Mr. Governor, our revered members of the governing board, and the management team of the agency to continue to work together conscientiously to enable the agency faithfully discharge its statutory functions of ensuring transparency, accountability, competitiveness, and due process, thereby ensuring value for money in public procurement in Lagos State, so that the state can maintain its enviable record in the adherence to international best practices in public procurement amongst other states of the Federation. On this note, I wish all of us a successful and impactful deliberation at this maiden annual general meeting of the agency. Thank you all for your participation, and we look forward to your very candid observation, including criticism. We believe that this all have a way of contributing to our future success as an agency. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rabiu Olowo, the Honorable Commissioner for Finance in Lagos State, Chairman, Governing Board of the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. Thank you very much, sir. At this point in time, we will, for the next 2 minutes, and I really crave the indulgence of the gentleman who will be coming forward to please just keep it within 2 minutes. The state is very busy today, and the HOS is at the center of it all. To tell us his experience on behalf of others as a contractor in Lagos State, I have the representative of Integrated Projects Limited from Dolphin Estate. Please welcome Mr. Soya Otsuyalo.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Hakim Mirokola, Head of Service, and other guests present. I won't take too much of your time, as directed by the moderator. My name is Soya Otuyalo, a partner in a company called Integrated Projects. And we've had the privilege of working for Lagos State for the past 16 years. And I can say that we have seen the procurement process transition from when we all had to go to State Tenders Board and go and sit down for hours on end and write reports and collect documents and fill it, to remarkable progress in the last 2-3 years. Remarkable progress. Because typically now, before now, when you needed to renew your registration or register, the process was lengthy and was filled with paperwork. But since 2019, it's online, seamless. Yes, like everything that is IT-based, you have some problems with the software at times, but it doesn't take away from the value of the innovation that the present administration in the procurement space has brought to bear on the procurement process. Because I don't have too much time, I'll just mention some of the innovations that I think that have been brought about in the past 2 years. Okay, yes. For the introduction of a system of statutory charges from contractors' payments at source. That has been it's a well thought out process. Then the placement of jobs on the Bidding Go platform for contractors to be able to look at it, see whether you want to you want to partake. If you want to upload your documents and submit your bid, then e-bidding too. So Lagos State is years ahead of other states in the e-procurement platform. So I would like to just quickly commend the administration of the state government and the PPA agency for the good work they're doing. To whom you've done a lot, but we think you can still do better, especially in the areas of multiplicity of documentation. Thank you very much for your time.
Please can you applaud Mr. Otuyalo more resoundingly? Thank you very much. Wow. At this point in time, two things will be going down. We will be having a keynote address, but more importantly, for the first time in the history of Lagos State and public procurement, not just in Lagos State, but I can make bold to say Nigeria, because if Lagos has not done it, no other state will do it. We will be unveiling the annual report, beg your pardon, and that is just there, and it will come up immediately after the keynote address. It is an honor and a privilege to give a keynote address at this point in time, the head of service of Lagos State that I pride as the public service of choice in Nigeria. Please welcome with me, Mr. Hakeem Muri Okunla. Please applaud him more resoundingly.
Please be seated. Thank you. The Secretary to the State Government, Mrs. Sherifat Jaji, ably represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Cabinet Office, Mrs. Tolani Oshodi. The Honorable Commissioner for Finance and the Chairman of the Governing Board of the Procurement Agency, Dr. Rabiu Olowo, the Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Moyosore Onigbanjo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Mr. Sam Igube, all members, they are all members of the Public Procurement Agency Board, Mrs. Folusho Onoboale, and Mr. Folusho Mustafa, both also members of the governing board. The body of permanent secretaries here present, particularly the captain of the body of permanent secretary and the permanent secretary in the Lagos State Electoral Commission, Mr. Samson Ajibade. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources and a proud ambassador of the Public Procurement Agency, Ms. Shola Shashore. The Director General of the Public Procurement Agency, Mr. Fatai Onofowote. Other directors, generals, directors, top government functionaries, council managers here present, directors in the Lagos State Public Service, our distinguished eminent contractors, Mr. Otuyalo and all of you, service providers, stakeholders there present. Thank you very much for coming. Distinguished gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, without forgetting to mention His Royal Majesty, Oba Abdul Wasiu Omogbola Olawa, the Oniru of Iruland, represented here by Chief Bashir Arowolo Afolabi. Kindly give our kind regards and appreciation to His Royal Majesty. I think technology showed us today that the public procurement agency, no matter how prudent you want to be, you would have to engage comedy in your program, as technology was able to provide us comedy with the intruders on your platform. I am delighted to be a part of this historical event, being the first, the maiden annual general meeting and stakeholders forum of the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. Indeed, I feel very proud of these giant strides and the very laudable achievements of the agency and what it has recorded within its few years of existence. Without a doubt, the agency has brought drastic changes to procurement in the public sector of Lagos State and has greatly assisted in ensuring cost effectiveness, increased transparency and accountability in government. As evidenced by Mr. Otielo, the journey has been one of over a decade. He's been with it for about 16 years, from the State Tenders Board to where we are today. A long, arduous journey, but now we are seeing the benefits of technology and the environment that it creates. Through judicious exercise of its powers as the regulatory, is that not a bit distracting? Just because I said they didn't do comedy. Through judicious exercise of its powers as regulatory bodies for public procurement in the state, the agency has successfully transformed public procurement to a point where stakeholders within and outside the country have generally acknowledged the agency for bringing sanity into public procurement in government, thereby enhancing the confidence of stakeholders and integrity of the state government. But this is not to say that the agency has attained perfection in its policies and processes. It is a work in progress. It is in recognition of this fact that the agency has deployed enormous resources to organize today's event, which has been aptly tagged Promoting Seamless Procurement, the e-procurement edge, to underscore the fact that there are still bridges to be crossed to safely arrive at the final destination. The Lagos State government is a strong advocate of stakeholders' involvement in the formulation and implementation of policies and programs, based on the realization that individuals and organizations who would be impacted by such policies and programs must have input in both the policy initiation and the policy implementation stages for the desired objectives of government to be fully attained. This was alluded to by the chairman of the board, Dr. Lowe, when he said our participation should be very, very robust, should be very, very critical. He doesn't mind negative criticisms. It's only a way to improve the processes. Today's annual general meeting and stakeholders forum therefore offers another golden opportunity for the broad spectrum of stakeholders, service providers of the agency who are physically or virtually participating at this event to contribute useful opinions and ideas which could further assist the agency to perform even better than it currently is doing. Governments at all levels are passing through a most challenging phase, considering the myriad of public expectations and social service needs to be met in the face of limited resources. It therefore becomes imperative that we must all work together as citizens to evolve creative strategies that will put government in good stead to provide adequate public goods and services efficiently and in a sustainable manner. On this note, I wish to express the appreciation of Mr. Jide Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State, for providing the desired quality of leadership, which has enabled the agency and indeed other MDAs of the state to discharge their assigned responsibilities to the public creditably. I wish to use this opportunity to assure you that Mr. Governor of the continued support of all public servants towards the successful implementation of the themes agenda of this administration. In conclusion, I enjoined the governing board, the leadership and staff of the agency that the ideas that will be generated from this event be properly documented, examined, reviewed, considered with a view to incorporating those found useful in its policies, programs, activities, thereby enhancing its performance and improved compliance to the public procurement law of Lagos State. On this note, I wish you very, very useful and fruitful deliberations, and thank you very much for your attention.
Please, can we applaud the head of service even as he moves on to the podium on the other side, and he's going to be joined by the captain of the PSs and all other permanent secretaries here present, governing board members to please join as well, and the DG in unveiling the annual general report. Please, the chairman of the Lagos State House of Assembly Committee on Public Procurement, Honorable Rauf Agay-Sulaiman, should please join us up on stage to unveil this.
I have the honor and privilege to be unveiling the Honorable Chairman. How are you, sir? You're welcome to our midst. I didn't see you, and your omission in the protocol list is not deliberate. You're welcome, and our kind regards to Mr. Speaker. I have the pleasure on your behalf to open and to unveil the annual reports of 2020 of the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency at this maiden annual general meeting, to the glory of God.
This is another first being made in Lagos State. Thank you. All our permanent secretaries, the chairman, House Committee, Honorable Rauf Agay-Sulaiman, and all the members of the governing board. Please, could you just have a copy with you so that the photographers can have this photograph session. Yes, indeed, history once again is being made. I crave the indulgence of the head of service and other dignitaries to please just move to the center of the podium so that we can have a better photograph session. Please, I crave your indulgence, sirs and ma. Please, could you just, Photographers, will this be better for us? Thank you. Thank you very much. And the head of service, while you're having this, I'd like to invite to Niru and also His Royal Majesty, the Ranodo of Imota, Oba Ajibade Kabiesi. Please, could you join us? Can we have Kabiesi's copy of the report? Please let us have Kabiesi's copy of the report. Kabiesi and thank you very much. Let's now have the photograph. Can we see the now? You have less than 1 minute for this. Thank you very much. The head of service, thank you, sir. The chairman, House Committee on Public Procurement, thank you, sir. The KVACs here present, thank you. The captains of our permanent secretaries, thank you. And all other distinguished guests, please, you can all return to your seats at this point. Thank you very much, sir. Can we applaud them even as they step down from the podium? Please let us return to our seats. Honorable Agay Sulaiman, your seat is up front here, sir. Your seat is up front here. We had actually been waiting for the legislative backing to this event. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, sir. All our stakeholders and distinguished guests, we thank you all for being here. The event is not yet over. We're moving on very quickly now to the next item on the program. And because we have rejigged the program a little bit, we'll be moving to item number 8. Item number 8. But before then, I just crave your indulgence that we should please just settle down. And I want to specially recognize and welcome from the Lagos State House of Assembly, a member, an honorable one at that. I can remember his contribution, especially during the public hearing on the amendment to the public procurement law of the state. This gentleman is an epitome of intelligence, brilliance, and indeed, an encyclopedia when it comes to economic matters and financial issues. Please, can you resoundingly put your hands together for Chairman, House Committee on Public Procurement, Honorable Agay Sulaiman. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. And next, we will be moving on to the presentation of the future of public procurement in Lagos State. And to do us the honor of telling us where we're moving from. Of course, Mr. Otuyalo has told us how it was in the past. He has told us what it is presently. And I'm sure this will be speaking to our expectation. How will it be going forward? Please welcome to the microphone, Jeremiah Adeyemi. Can we put our hands together as he comes forward to tell us where we're going on from here? Yes, we have seen it, how it was in the past, and we know what it is now. Can it get better, or will it get better? Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol so as to save time. Thank you very much. You're all welcome again to the annual general meeting and stakeholder forum of Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. Of sharing with us the future of public procurement in Lagos State. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a generally accepted norm globally that the primary function of governance, and that is also enshrined in Section 14 of the Nigerian Constitution, is welfare and security of the populace. And a key way by which government discharges this function of welfare is through procurement. We are either buying, you're either building roads, constructing schools, that goes through the procurement process. You are either buying textbooks, drugs for the clinic, or you are either providing services in terms of recruitment and payment of consultants and all other auxiliary services. In fact, it may interest us to note that globally, government is the key and major spender. Today, there's a furlough going up in the UK. The government is assisting the private sector to keep on paying employees until maybe October this year. This has been on since the advent of COVID. In America as well, there is a stimulus package passed by Trump. And then, of course, Biden as well is going in that line. So I need to quickly point out the fact that the chief procurer in Lagos State is His Excellency, the governor of the state. Because he is the one, he's the mandate owner, and as such, the function of delegating procurement to other commissioners, accounting officers is being passed down. So therefore, to quickly answer the question, the future of public procurement will continue to exist as long as we human beings are categorized, are governed by government in the various entities. So therefore, the future of public procurement is certain and it will continue. Thank you very much. Please go to the first slide. All right, we'll start by defining procurement. What is procurement? We'll take it from a holistic perspective. A simple definition of procurement is, it is the act of buying goods, works, goods, and services. So that particular function of buying works, goods, and services is the simplest form of definition of procurement. The procurement refers to the entire process from when you identify the need, to the budgetary process, to the tender process, to the award process, and then to the payment process. So it's a complete value chain. It's a continuum, right from beginning to the end. Please move to the next slide. There are various definitions there. For want of time, I will not want to go into too much. Now, this is a procurement cycle. It starts mainly, like I said, with identification of the goods and services, which entails the fact that we know that there is a need. It is budgeted for. Then we explore vendors. Of course, we go through the process of identifying and selecting the vendors that will participate. Then we submit, we do the tender process. And of course, the standard term globally is great purchase order, but in the public sector, in Nigeria, we use, particularly in Lagos State, we use award letter. And then, of course, the orders are received when the vendors or contractors supply the goods, and then we pay for the service. And then, of course, there's an audit or record process. So that is, in a nutshell, the process. And the other graph, the other slide as well also captures this particular function. Please, let's move to the next slide. The same thing is captured here in a much more robust process. We have RFQs, requests for quotation. We have requests for proposal. We have, these are various processes by which we request for tenders from our contractors and our vendors, all aimed towards what? Ensuring transparency and proper value addition to the process. The next slide. We want to narrow down to public procurement. What is public procurement? As defined here, public procurement refers to the sustainable acquisition and disposal of goods, works, and services by public bodies, organizations, offices, using public funds in an efficient, professional, auditable, and transparent manner for the benefit of the society, particularly by a third party. Please let's take note of that, particularly by a third party. So there must be segregation of duty. There must be transparency. Hence, the process of award, the process of discharge, the process of delivery of the contract is done independently. It's done openly. It's done by a contractor or a vendor who is a third party. We then have the procurement cycle without belaboring you. Of course, it starts with the process of budgeting, tendering, bid opening, and then it ends, of course, with invoicing and payment. The process of procurement, mainly with the new acquisition, with the new technology involvement, is a cycle. We start with tender, and we want to ensure that the vendors get paid as at when due. So it is very important. The work of the procurement man does not stop at award. It stops at the point where the vendor is paid. And why is this very critical? If you pay the vendor or as agreed contractually, it encourages him to perform more. It encourages him to give you better price. It encourages him to be able to deliver better. When you say 30 days and you pay 30 days or you pay 29 days, the next time you are doing a tender, you can drive down the price. But when you say 30 days and you pay 70 days or you pay 90 days, obviously the vendor will consider his cost of fund during the next tender. So that is why it is very important globally and particularly with the process of procurement that it starts with the process of initiating to the point when the vendor is paid. All right, thank you very much. The next slide. Let's look at a quick background of public procurement in Lagos. As enumerated by the Director General, public procurement law was passed in 2011. The CADA was created in 2011. Of course, there was a public tender board before 2014 when the agency was properly put in place. And then over time, this has been cascaded down to the 57 local councils. And as it is today, the best practice is being upheld in Lagos State in terms of procurement. The next slide. The agency. Like we've said, the Public Procurement Agency in Lagos State is responsible for carrying out the function of procurement. And they have a cycle, which is their slide, that clearly shows what they start with planning. They then move to contracts, the contract process, and then they go to the contract management process, the contract monitoring process, and then they go to the contract management process, and then there's a disposal. So it's a cycle, it's a cycle of activities that they carry out aimed at ensuring that value addition is done. The next slide, please. The regulatory role of the agency. The agency is charged with the responsibility of certifying all procurement prior to and during the award, right, of it in Lagos, maintaining a database. As Mr. Igodalo has said, we have a database of all suppliers, oversee and superintend compliance by all procuring entity. The essence of having a public procurement agency is to ensure monitoring and proper segregation of duty. Publish detailed major contracts in Lagos, like has been enumerated. Every project in Lagos State can be seen, or tender ongoing in Lagos State can be seen on the website. You go to the PPA website, you see what is happening, you see what is upcoming. And then there's a journal that the agency also, and paper publications that the agency also periodically shares. The next slide. The present. Please move on. Thank you. Now, the present. Let me say that there is no tomorrow without a today, and there is no today without a yesterday. Hence, this presentation has been shared into three. I've given you a quick background. We will now look at where we are today, and then where we are going. Now, the agency in Lagos State, I can say with all sense of humility, as somebody who has had the privilege of seeing e-procurement work for over 10 years, practically internationally. In my last paid employment, I was procurement manager across the whole of West Africa. And we used to jokingly say that I was saved by Ebola. With the e-procurement tool, one of the countries I manage is Sierra Leone. and Liberia. Yet I can sit in my office here in Nigeria or wherever I happen to be in all the other safe countries and ensure that the procurement activities happen. That is the beauty of e-procurement. So I can say with all sense of humility that Lagos State is on the right track. They are making a good job. I think Lagos State deserves a round of applause for that. Today in Nigeria, we have less than 5 states that have gone on the e-procurement platform. In fact, Lagos started before the World Bank in line with its open government system, which is promoting transparency and saying, look, the world has become a global village. Today, the chairman of the agency and honorable commissioner, Dr. Abiu Olowo, was able to deliver his address right from, maybe he's in London, or I'm sorry, I'm just trying to enumerate how easy it is. Probably he's in the US as we speak now. I'm just hypothetically speaking. But he is watching us. He has been able to deliver his presentation. That is the beauty of technology. That is where the world is going. So if you want to now continue doing bid opening process, bringing boxes, I have had the privilege of being at a tender of a federal agency, the normal big boxes that would come and dump here. And then when we started bringing out the, I came as a stakeholder, we sat down, and then when they started bringing out the tender, somebody stood up and said, where is my own? I submitted mine, where is mine? And then they were all requested to submit their bid on the 3rd floor. He took his own to the 6th floor and dropped it with the security man. So it created a hiccups. They had to now go and invite the security man who started swearing that truly he collected it then. So you can see the challenge that paperwork poses. So I know Mr. The stakeholders saying what it entails. But Lagos State has moved beyond that. We have gone using the e-procurement platform. We are able to use real time. You go in, you submit your tender. And as it is in Lagos today, like the DG has said, 56 agencies have come on board. Another 51 will come on board before the end of the year, making a total of 107 that would be on the e-procurement platform. And today, Lagos State is using the e-procurement platform properly on 3 modules: vendor registration, bidding, and solicitation. So that aspect of the procurement process in Lagos State has gone automated. This is probably, like I said, less than 5 states in Nigeria are doing this. And I can tell you that Lagos is at the forefront. Thank you very much. Let's move to the next slide. A round of applause for Lagos State. Okay. Vendor registration. Today in Lagos State, about 5,000 vendors are already registered on the platform. Before we started this program, you probably would have been seeing the slides being projected. It's a seamless, easy process. You can be anywhere. Log on, provide the necessary documentation, and you are set up. You don't have to come and somebody tells you your tax form is not clear, your this is not clear. And the process is easy. As you are doing it, it guides you, it walks you through. In fact, there is a video tape, which I think we all saw, that shows you clearly how to do it. So it's a self-aided process that is very easy for you to do. Secondly, solicitation. Every vendor that has been registered in Lagos today gets an alert. Anytime there's an upcoming tender, you are aware of it. In fact, if you are registered in that particular segment, you get a personalized email that tells you there is a tender coming up very soon. That is how robust and professional this is being done. Now, bidding, bid submission. Like I just explained, the process whereby you submit your bid, and then document when you start opening the boxes. Of course, there are times when the element of human factor comes in. Somebody submits his bid, and then he wants to withdraw it again, and then we submit at the last minute because of the paper environment. But with the automated environment, using the e-procurement tool, there's an audit trail. You as a vendor are the only one that knows your password. When you log in, you start the process of creating your bid. If you cannot complete it that day, you can log out. At the expiration of the 1 week or 2 weeks of the tender process, it locks it. And if there is any dispute, an audit trail report can be printed out. So there is transparency and there is accountability in the whole process. There is no room for any human manipulation or subjectiveness in the process. Thank you very much. The next slide. Lagos State last year, and this is a novel achievement, was able to carry out the first online opening of electronic bid opening, where people sat in their various offices, various locations, and the bid was opened transparently through the electronic platform. I think the Lagos, the PPA agency also deserves a round of applause. The World Bank agency was there, other people were there. They were able to watch a live bid opening. And that is the future of procurement. That is the future of e-procurement and where we are going. Bid evaluation. This module is there. Hopefully very soon Lagos State will, what we mean by bid evaluation is the process whereby the bid itself can be electronically evaluated within a day or two and the whole process goes through. That module is there and it's being worked on, and hopefully very soon we'll go live on that as well. Now, open contract data standard. That, like I said earlier on, the era of Torontoism is over. It means the world has become a global village. You tell me you bought a car from Papua New Guinea. I can go online and check. Even if I can't get the actual price, I can, as a professional, I can have a fair idea of what happened. So, open contract standard data system is what we're using, as encouraged by the World Bank and as strongly promoted by Lagos State. It's such that every potential tender, every potential award in Lagos, you can go to PPA's website and the procuring agency website and see we've awarded a contract for XYZ to PQR Road at 200 million. We are doing this, we are doing that. So the open contracting system, open contract data standard is helping to uphold this best practice. It's helping to make it very easy for you to see and track the deliverables of what government is doing. Thank you very much. The next slide. Today, procurement professionals, with the advent of COVID, I'm sure last year a lot of people had to stay at home for months, but procurement professionals in Lagos can work from anywhere. From their phone, they can log on to their workplace, so they don't have to necessarily sit in the office to deliver their work. Professionals in Lagos, procurement professionals in Lagos can work from anywhere they are. Procurement and stakeholders are being trained in Lagos State periodically. They are being upskilled with what is evolving, with the new and modern technology of what is happening in procurement. And interestingly, because as enumerated earlier on, small and medium scale enterprise, we want to encourage localization as much as possible. Let's keep the money of Nigeria within Nigerians by Nigerians to be used to develop Nigeria. As such, registration of vendor starts in Lagos State particularly, starts from as small as 10,000 naira. I think that is reasonable enough to as high as, depending on which category or which segment you want to play in. So the registration fee starts with 10,000. And it's interesting to also note that unlike in other states where maybe you participated this year, and then maybe for 4 or 5 years, you are unable to do anything. Whenever you are coming in other areas, you have to pay for those years that you didn't participate. But in Lagos State, being in a view of trying to encourage local participation and small vendors, whenever you come back, you only pay for the year that you are back to do. Most entities or states don't do that. I think it's a fair and a means of encouraging suppliers to keep abreast and to continue to be part of the process in Lagos State. Thank you very much. Let's move to the next slide. Now, best practices. Obviously, we do not need to, that has been catered for earlier in my earlier slide. We have to ensure we uphold best practices. If you do not, and that is why there's the Montesquieu's theory of separation of power comes into play, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. So the whole idea behind it is to ensure that if we do not, the consequences are there. Slide clearly shows and tells us the consequence of not upholding best practices. And in Lagos State, as much as possible, this is being done. The future of public procurement. Please, presenter, the world has become, please, can you play that small tape? The The world has become a global village. And as such, if you are not informed, you become disinformed. You have to be relevant. You have to be up to date. You must be in a position to make yourself on top of what is happening. Sorry, there's a small video that I want to share. Today, the world's richest man, Jeff Bezos, in the next less than a month, he will be going to space. Now, that is a technology, precisely on the 20th of July. Now, that is a technology being deployed. If that technology works very well, what it means is that travel time will be reduced drastically. It means maybe 10, 15 minutes, as against the 5-6 hours you take to go to London, you may be in London in 10, 15 minutes. It means Dubai may be less than 20 minutes if that technology works, because it's going to go into space probably for about 10, 20 minutes and then come back. So if that technology is well employed and deployed, it means turnaround and travel time will be drastically reduced. Now, what am I trying to say is that technology is not waiting for anyone. We have to be up and doing. We have to make ourselves relevant. And we're talking, earlier on we were talking of 3D. Now we're talking of 5D. This is, sorry, there's supposed to be a small video presentation that was supposed to come up. Oh. While they work out the logistics of that. So like I was saying, the future is going beyond the normal human imagination. The realm of the impossible for mankind is gradually no longer existing. Technology has made space and time. No, sorry, the next one. The next one. Technology has made, thank you. That is 5D technology. The era of 3D. I'm sure many of us have seen 3D. Now the world has gone from 3D to 5D. You can see what humans are able to do with technology. That is the future. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is just meant to stimulate our appetite to understand where we're going. So even in the procurement space, things are changing. Nobody is talking about paper bidding anymore. And as such, please move to the next slide. The future of public procurement in Lagos State. The next slide, please. Next one. All right. Sorry, modern technology will be fully deployed in the procurement process in Lagos State. Their e-procurement and digital tools will be fully utilized. We intend to go fully, just like the DG has said, by the end of next year, based on projections, every MDA, ministry, department, and agency in Lagos will be fully uploaded on the e-procurement platform. So most likely, the era of, it's gradually going out. The era of paper bid is gone. Am I right, my DG? So that is what is being applied. Also, supplier categorization and segmentation will be done via supplier relationship management. Now, the intention here is clear. The future of procurement, like I said, is proper segmentation, proper categorization of suppliers. Today in Lagos State, we register suppliers based on certain amount of money. So you are then able to bid based on that amount you have paid. Now, going into the future, what will happen is a situation where you segment suppliers. This is using modern technology tools. We have the preferred, the approved, and the observed. What is the purpose of this? Is to enable you as a supplier to work within the ambit of what you are able to do. And then based on that, you are able to, you are being properly assessed. For instance, if you're buying cars, it is being encouraged. A practice normally, in my last paid employment, like I did elucidate, we have presence in about 120 countries. But it may interest you to know that if I am buying Toyota, or I'm buying Nissan, or I'm buying Ford, anywhere in the world, I have a base price. It's a fixed price. The only thing that differs is the landed cost. So if a supplier in any part of the world, if I'm buying computer anywhere in the world, I have a fixed price with HP or with a Lenovo. So all that changes is just the fact that maybe, okay, what is the duty in Nigeria? So we build the prices. So that is the future of segmentation. So when going into the future, we want to encourage a situation where we have segmentation of suppliers as such. What does this do? As near to the source as possible, as near to the manufacturer or the manufacturer rep as possible. We leverage on it. It helps to make it easy. It helps to make delivery and services much, much more easier. I have had the privilege of being in the auto industry, and it creates a lot of, that was the earlier video that I was about to share. A lot of multiplier effect comes into play. For instance, I worked with General Motors. They started manufacturing, for those of us that are old enough, we should remember the old Bedford 5-ton truck that carries sands to most of our sites. General Motors Nigeria, or Niger Motors then, in 1980, celebrated the local production of 500,000 units in Nigeria as at 1980. The similar plant was constructed in Egypt and in Kenya. I've had the opportunity of working also in those plants. Interesting to note, the whole idea behind it is to continue increasing local content, battery, glass, seats, and all that. But unfortunately, when I left that industry about 10 years ago, Egypt was already on about 65% local content. Kenya was about 60% as well. Nigeria, before General Motors Nigeria had to go, we were gradually going back to our OEM to say, please, the next CKD coming to Nigeria include tires. They will ask, but you have a tire plant in Nigeria, Michelin and Dunlop. Please include battery. So why I'm saying this is that if you go to some of these countries, you find out that a lot of those productions are done by micro, mini, medium scale. That is the area I'm going, so that the local suppliers and contractors should appreciate that. A lot of those industries are cottage industries. They are not so big in many of these countries. They're very small and they are able to deliver. All right. The future of procurement is, the next slide, please. The future of procurement is going digital. Now, digital is a bit different from e-procurement, e-invoicing. Digital procurement is going further to using robotics, to using more advanced analytic tools. Well, the whole essence is to provide real-time delivery, real-time service, real-time value add, save cost, and ensure that both the stakeholder and the procurement agency gets optimum value delivery. Please, let's move to the next slide. So the use of, like I said earlier on, the benefits are enormous. It's all geared towards ensuring that we use technology. For instance, going into the future, using digital tool, for instance, procurement of drugs. What needs to happen when we eventually get to this level in Lagos is that as a registered supplier in that contract area, we promote what we call framework. Framework is where we agree prices at the beginning of the year or at a set period of time, and we lock it. When the drugs are being required or a particular item is being required, as a supplier, you have access. That is where digital is going. You have what you call read-only access to the procurement. Maybe we're buying at hospital level or we're buying at the medical board level. You have read-only access to the stock level of what they have in store. So right when, let's say maybe the reorder level is 300,000 units of paracetamol or pain reliever, for want of being specific. By the time it's getting to that level, you can see the stock level, so you can start producing. By the time it gets to that reorder level, you just come in and deliver. That is where digital is going. You don't have to start each moment reinventing the wheel, wasting time, wasting effort. It has been discovered that the process of digitalizing and automating it makes it faster and easier to ensure value addition. Let's move to the next slide. So, in recent time, an international body called Medios has been able to come up with certain predictions. Of course, these are applicable. Procurement will become synonymous with driving competitive advantage. Like I did said earlier on, as long as we have government is the chief procurer anywhere in the world. So machines will do heavy data. Most of the heavy work will be done by a machine. Procurement will become agile and partner directly with other departments. Globally today, in certain parts of the world, we have what we call a credit rating. Credit rating means that if you borrow money from bank A and you want to go to bank B, they can call up your data and know if you are creditworthy or not. Contractors will get to that level such that if you go to Ministry A and you do a shoddy job, we can call you up your data, performance data. In fact, that is part of what we are looking at under the governance model of procurement. When we get to that level, we will periodically do a governance stakeholder meeting that ensures that we know you get the feedback from the stakeholder, we get the feedback from the contractor. That is geared towards ensuring a balanced and robust view of what a supplier is doing and how he or she is performing. That is part of the future of procurement. But for want of time, I just want to move forward. Tracking will help our business spot patterns. Please move to the next slide. Robotics will come into play. Automation, robots will play certain role. Even from the supplier side, certain of your functions, with little cost, with little money, you can automate some of your processes. on the procurement side or the MDA side, certain of these functions too will be digitalized and further enhanced in a way that you can get value. Please, let's move on. Blockchain technology will come into play in the procurement circle. Okay, these are the top trends in 2021 of procurement. For want of time, we can move on. Please move on. All right, and I'm sure with time everybody can look at it. Existing decision of make or buy will be challenged. We intend to challenge the present norm. We intend to be able to evaluate and see what is happening. The next slide. Sorry, go back. Ladies and gentlemen, I would blockchain technology, like I said, vault activated, vault processes. These are all systems and technology that will help to enhance the digitalization of procurement and all that. I would like to please move to the next slide. Okay. Back. I would like to say, to end with to bring to our notice something. The founder of Modern Day Dubai, Sheikh Rashid Al Maktoum, I would like to chip in what he said. He was asked, what do you see as the future of Dubai? He answered by saying, my grandfather rode camels. My father rode camel. I am riding a Mercedes-Benz. My children are riding Range Rovers. My grandchildren will ride Range Rovers. But my great-grandchildren will come back to camel. And he was asked, why did you say so? Because he said, hard times create strong men. Strong men create easy time. Easy time creates weak men. His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, requires strong men as contractors and vendors to help him deliver on the team's mandate. And that role lies on all of us here to ensure that it's done. So it's a joint responsibility to deliver on that. Please, can you play that last clip before we go? Ladies and gentlemen, I think that message shows that is a circle. Ìgbéga àti tẹ̀síwájú ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, àjùmọ̀ṣe gbogbo wa ni. Thank you very much.
Please, can we applaud Mr. Jeremiah Adeyemi more resoundingly? You know, if I do a background check, I want to believe that either teaching or being a lecturer is part of what he's up to. We thank you. Very detailed, in-depth, and indeed mind-opening. Another round of applause for Mr. Jeremiah Adeyemi. Thank you very, very much. Please, you can start putting down your questions now. The ushers are going round with a piece of paper. If you want more than one, if you want 4, you want 10, we have more than enough. What we're trying to do is make this as interactive as possible. Please start dropping your questions, not necessarily on what Mr. Adeyemi has told us or what the DG will be coming coming up to tell us, or what the head of service have told us, or what Honorable Agay Sulaiman will be telling us much later as well. But because it's going to be a round discussion, we want to feel your polls. Now, if you have somebody who you want to speak to your question directly, you can also note it. Or if you want a particular agency to talk about whatever you are asking or commenting about, you can also note it. Please, you can start doing that now. The ushers will be going around, even as I welcome to the podium for the presentation on the state of public procurement in Lagos State. Please put your hands together for the Director General, Mr. Fatai Idowu Onofowote. He promised that he will make it just about 3-5 minutes. A round of applause for him.
Thank you, moderator. So I urge the people changing the slides to appreciate that I have a short time to deliver on this presentation. So I have something with me that I will use to ensure that if the slide is not changing, I'm moving on. So just never mind that I may not be able to wait for all this change of slide and so on and so forth. I must appreciate all of us for taking time to be here. So I'll be speaking to the state of public procurement in Lagos State. And I'm not going to bore you with anything that has been said before. So as much as possible, I want to save time. I want to deliver within the shortest time possible. So the issue of what public procurement is, it has become a popular and a norm. It's about sustainable acquisition of goods, works, and services in a manner that is professional, that is efficient, that is auditable, and that is transparent, and especially by service providers called third party. It's my pleasure to inform you that the first law was signed October 2011, and just like I presented, was operational. It's been operational. The HOS was quick to remind us that it's about a decade, about 10 years ago, that law was signed. This year, 2021, 15th of March, Mr. Governor signed the amended law and ensured that this law is in alignment with current reality. I must appreciate the Lagos State House of Assembly for putting this law together and ensure that we implement it at about this time. Now, so the provision of the law on open competition, some element of the old practice have been removed to ensure that we are moving in alignment with economic realities as Lagos. So this locked down to a particular figure of 100 million being a base for whether it's open or restrictive has been eliminated so that we don't have any reason to delay. Then the other addition is that the mobilization element, mobilizing contractor, has moved away from the former 20% mobilization to up to 40%. But for very big project, we have a range of between 20 and 40%. If the size of the contract is big, it may not necessarily be 40%. It will range between 20 and 40. Well, the procurement cycle that starts with planning up to contract management up to disposal has been presented to you, so I'm not going to bore you with that. Every other thing that concerns ease of doing business, from need assessment up to tendering, up to collection of bid, up to evaluation, up to award renegotiation, invoicing and payment, has also been presented, so I'm not going to speak to that. So then the agency is ensuring that approval instrument is now issued in a manner that is seamless. And since we are operating e-platform, we are committed to ensuring that within 48 hours, a number of these instruments are made available to you, especially if your documentation has been done properly. And we are committed to that, even including online registration that we have started in 2019. We are making sure that it's done in a manner that is seamless. So we are going to continue to issue the certificate of compliance, no objection, letter of confirmation. And there's another opportunity to promote SME. So if an amount is within the range of what is required to promote SME, we will so advise the MDAs to do so. Now, the current reform that we have in place, including deploying e-procurement in all the MDAs, 97 in 2021, more to come in 2022. Then the procurement plan template is being revised so that people can easily upload their plan and from the various MDAs. Change management, because just like we are introducing things that are new, it's important to build capacity of those who will manage all these new things. So we're going to use various strategies to encourage us to shift from where we are. We need to shift from our current position that we consider as a comfort zone to a new position that is driven by technology. So we move away from this current comfort zone and move away and begin to drive our process with technology. So we have introduced a change also in the procurement flow process to encourage you to commence your process and speak all the English that you want to speak at your MDA level. And you know, life is about disagreeing to agree. So do your disagreement and agree before writing memo and pushing to Mr. Governor for approval. You know, sometimes we have issue with how the terms of reference is put together. We have issue with how the specification is packaged. We have issue with who handles what. So speak all of the English at the MDA level and get your direction and understand exactly the roadmap of how you want to achieve that the service is delivered in good time. The only thing you cannot do is that you cannot commit to the state to some payment except to get the nod of Mr. Governor. But it's not all activities that leads to payment immediately. And those that do not lead to payment, do all the needful at the MDA level and move on. That is the flow process you have on the screen to ensure that things are done in a manner that is much faster. We are making a lot of passionate appeal to agencies of government that issue sign-off to also move with us. They move also at the pace at which we are trying to move. And that is the way that service can be delivered to Lagosians who are yearning to see government presence in their various domains. So we need to move closely at the pace at which PPA is moving, even in the area of issuance of sign-off. So we are appealing to say, if it takes you 2 weeks to do sign-off in the past, can you bring it down to 1 week and ensure that we are also able to have all the necessary documents that will require to also sign off on all the approval instrument. You see, my joy also is that CIA is here with us and are following us on some of the things that we are doing. We are working together. We hold meetings regularly to see how to streamline what we currently do and ensure that we move at the pace that the public expects us to move. You know, until a contract is delivered, it is our belief that it's not serving its purpose. And it's our wish that contract is delivered much faster in Lagos State. So if we are building schools and it's not delivered, for us, it is yet to be done. Until it is delivered and it's habitable, that is where we can put our children. If we are building hospital and it's not delivered, for us, it is not there yet. Until it is delivered, that all the medical doctors can get there and attend to patients and give them the kind of service that they desire. So we have done a timeline for some activities that we have in the typical procurement cycle. The first has to do with bid preparation and submission by MDAs. And in doing that, a lot comes into that space. In that space is where we have sign up. In that space is where we have so many other things that makes a bidding document stand as bidding document. It's not without terms of reference, without bill of engineering measurement and evaluation, or sometimes BOQ. You cannot be talking about bidding document. And these are the documents that we give out for will-be service providers to participate in our process. So bid preparation and submission, it is a wish that can happen within 1 and 4 weeks. And when you want to obtain PPA no objection, like I said, we are committed to less than 1 week. We are committed to 48 hours. Bid invitation has its own standard. In preparation of it, it is a belief that you should be able to finish it in 1 week. But when you now want the service provider to take it and participate, is a function of procurement method. If it is national competitive bidding, if it's international competitive bidding, you are guided by a standing rule to say for NCB, this is the minimum number of weeks that service provider will be allowed to take it. If it's international, this is the number of weeks that service provider will be required to take it. So we have a range of 2 to 6 weeks for that. Then submission of evaluation report is our wish that evaluation is able to close within a space of 1 and 2 weeks maximum. Then issuance of certificate of compliance, we are committed to less than 1 week for that. And when you get all of these things right, you have a robust document that you want to present to Mr. Governor to say, process has been done. You can also decide whether to approve. You have idea of the figure. We have a budget estimate. We have the market price situation. So the governor is allowed to take his own position and approve for us. So on e-procurement, a lot has been said, what we have done, so I'm not going to bore you on that. The future has also been presented to us. It's our wish that all procuring entities are fully onboarded into the e-procurement platform. We will continue to build capacity of officers to be able to drive the process at the MDA's level, including every other players, because procurement cannot be done by procurement officers alone. All other players in the process have to support what we are doing. Restructuring of employment criteria. We have written letter to head of service. We have also written to Civil Service Commission on the skill that we are looking for to achieve the future of procurement in Lagos State. And I'm sure that is being worked upon. There's standardization of project management practice for capital project implementation. Then we are also trying to deploy technology. We call it geodigitalization of capital project location. We want to be able to sit down in our office and using a map to determine how much work you are doing in that capital project that you are asked to do. That is what we are trying to do. Then certify release of funds for capital project so that somebody is not saying, I have been paid, but you are still looking for the location. We want to be able to certify that you are really qualified to get paid for the service that you are providing, and you are getting your payment, and we as a state, we are getting value for money. So on this note, I want to appreciate you for the attention and for giving me an opportunity to also stand there and do this presentation. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àjùmọ̀ṣe ni. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The Director General of the Public Procurement Agency, Mr. Fatai Onofowote. We still expect the questions to start coming in as we will be constituting the panel up here. But before or while the panel is being, the chairs are being set, it will be disservice not to hear from the arm of government that Mr. Onofowote has commended so glowingly for their efforts, especially in putting together the public procurement law of Lagos State. Don't forget, I think it was last year that the House amended that law, and they listened to stakeholders there. Here, some of you were there. And at this point in time, it is an honor to take a goodwill message from the Lagos State House of Assembly through the chairman, House Committee on Public Procurement. Please, could you put your hands together for Honorable Rauf Olawale Age Sulaiman. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good day, beautiful people of Lagos State. On behalf of the Right Honorable Speaker of Lagos State National Assembly, the distinguished members of Lagos State House of Assembly, I say you are welcome. Say good afternoon. I know everybody has been recognized. So without wasting our time, we want to humbly stay the existing protocol. But this is not possible without recognizing the royal fathers here present and the positively constituted board members at the same time, and other stakeholders, those that are present here and those that are watching us online. You are all welcome. Without missing word, what is our duty at the House of Assembly? We are the one you have voted to represent you. Not only to represent you, to make laws that suit the society. And at the same time, to follow up these laws that are made to ensure that they are fully implemented. Look around this. The law on procurement is what we have critically looked into for its passage. Government is all and doing. The executive arms is all and doing. Likewise, the judicial arms, everybody is doing. But they know that society changes. So are the individual within the society. And because of this, we need to have law that will stand the test of time. And you have, like you have always been saying about Lagos State House of Assembly, that we always stand the test of time. It's not by our doing, but your support. Your support. If you look at the content of the law, we mistakenly see that some areas that could be somewhat difficult, are completely removed in order to ensure that there is probity, there is accountability. Bearing in mind that apart from the supplier, even those that are to be supplied to, we also enjoy it. We make it in such a way that it is seamless. We have mentioned some important section of this law, which is to advantage of everybody, whether you're a vendor or you are from the MDAs, because the whole idea of development center on budget, whole idea of budget also center on planning. Then the whole idea of development as a whole center on performance. And for there to be adequate performance, there's supposed to be a law that guide and protect everybody. So you are in our mind. You are in our mind. I just want to implore us to have a grasp of the law. From there, you will know when you have gone wrong. You will know when you have not gone wrong. So if in the process of bidding, you discover that you are being short treated somehow, or you are not adequately, considered, you have the right. And the said law at the same time is not so rigid. Laws are made for people. Laws are made for you. As a result of that, if a particular section of the law is not in agreement with the modern day doing, of course, it goes on us to see what to make it simple. My assurance is the establishment of public procurement agencies to ensure that services are well delivered. And at the same time, to put into consideration that everybody, whether you are a buyer or you are a seller, you are a provider, your interest is paramount. And all these were put together. Now, I want us to, just like they have said, that your questions, whatever you think it is not clear to you, it could be in form of suggestion at the same time. Make sure you put it together. Going by the lectures they delivered to us, I believe you have all understood the process of e-procurement is to make sure that wherever you are, you have the advantage of participating in procurement. And at the same time, if you look at it, you see that a time will come that we might not even need people to work, and we are still giving birth to children. Where do we go from here? This shows that there is work to do. There is work to do in the sense that all these our children, they will also have, role to perform. They will have role to perform. They will do other things. In other words, when the first man that presented different type of clips and during the election, you will see that from what he said, you will see that there is a challenge in the sense that a time will come, because if by his explanation about the person that may have developed Dubai from one stage to another stage, then to another stage, to another stage, then back to the other stage. Of course, it will be like that. But where there is no challenge, of course, it will remain the same. An idle man they are common enough. They grow without planting. If we don't make use of our time now, somebody else will use our time. So I want to I want to implore us, but please put whatever you have together. We have erudite scholars here. We have practical individuals that are well groomed in procurement. And even our Director General also, who knows what and what, because somebody that at least is well, vested in procurement and is known even up to the World Bank level. So stakeholders here present, on behalf of Lagos State House of Assembly, the management staff, as well as every other within the entire environment, I said, you are welcome. I wish you fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Please put your hands together for Honorable Raouf Olawale Age Sulaiman, Chairman House Committee on Public Procurement. You know, I would say one thing, that the 3 tiers of government in Lagos State have a synergy, and that synergy seems almost perfect, and that's why we have a near perfect state. Thank you very much, sir, for being here and for your words. Thank you. Now we're going straight to the interactive session, and I'd like to quickly call on the following to please come take their seats up here. We already have some questions, and some of those questions have been directed at some of these individuals that will be coming up. Mr. Kelechi Obijaku, please. Obiaku, please. Could you come up to the stage? You'll be taking your seat from this end. Thank you. He'll be taking the first seats there. He is the legal advisor of the Public Procurement Agency. Ms. Sowo Adiola should please join up stage. She is the HOD Registration Department. Please applaud her as she comes up. Ms. Adiola Sowo, please, could you take your seat? Mr. Aki Ogundare should please join us up on the stage as well. Mr. Aki Ogundare. Please, could you come this way, sir? We also have the Director General himself of a Public Procurement Agency. There's no way we can leave him out. Mr. Fatai Idowu Onofowote. There's no way we can leave you out, sir. It would not be possible. Thank you very much. Also, I'd like to invite to join us up on the podium, Mr. Wasiu Onowoga. He is the HOD Procurement Department. If you need to catch anybody, catch this man. And he's already telling us where to look for him. Onowoga. Thank you very much, Mr. Wasiu Onowoga. And of course, Mr. Maruf Subar should please come up, HOD Monitoring, Enforcement, and Compliance Department. So if you are collecting the money and you are still looking for the location, this is the man that will arrest you. Thank you very much, Mr. Maruf Subar. And lastly, to join us on the podium, Mr. Kayode Rashid. Mr. Kayode Rashid should please come up stage as well. Please take a seat, sir. My permanent secretaries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I already have some questions here. And the first question says, advance payments on contracts to be between 60% to 70%. This has, however, been reduced to 20% to 40%. Don't you think this will increase the duration of projects, as the advance payment is usually the easiest to assess? So I think to speak to that, I'd like to invite Mr. Subar. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The question is speaking to advance payments that the state government releases for contracts. What we have right now is the law allows advance payment up to 40% of the contract sum. The question is speaking to 20 to 40, 40 to 60. I believe the regime of 40 to 60 was referring to the pre-PPA, procurement era, in the era of STB. During the era of PPA, we started with 20% and we've now moved on to 40%. It is important to note that advance payment is an amount released by government to help kickstart the project. So we're mindful in the amount we are allowing contractors to have when they are starting up our projects for the state. In as much as we're using it as a form of assistance to kickstart the project, we're also mindful of the effect and the control of funds, as well as encouraging our contractors as our partners in progress on this project to also put in their own funds as well that will allow us to properly run through the project so that we have a mutual interest in the project as it goes on. So if I got the question right, we should say that the regime now is that we allow, the law allows advance payment up to 40%. But at critical times, we can make requests to Mr. Governor for amounts that would be higher than 40%. So for now, the law allows 40%. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Subar. And the next question that we will be taking, it's the person has written a twin pointed question. The first, is it possible to have contractors, service providers union so as to inject discipline into this fold? Let me take that question again. Is it possible to have contractors or service providers union so as to inject discipline into this fold? I think the DG should please answer that question. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, the question is somehow, but let me just share my own thoughts. You see, business, when you are doing business, so it's a relationship matter between the business of who we call the service provider and the client. So what we are doing with you at any point in time is business. And it's about relationship. And I'm happy at the issue that was, the first issue that was raised that spoke to mobilization percentage. You know, in evaluation, we also consider your financial capability and other things. So we need you to see business as a partnership. As you are coming, as government is contributing something, you as service provider is also supposed to contribute something. So forming a union will be out of it because business has to be considered and treated as business, because it's not about somebody taking your fundamental human rights from you. And the moment nothing has infringed on your right, you have a right to do business. The space is open for anyone who has the capacity to do business with government, but there are requirements that must be met. And it varies from the size to size of contract. So it will be difficult to unionize. So we have to be sincere about what business look like. How do we do business? So it's not about anyone will be infringing on your right, but the law provides for complaint opportunities. If you are aggrieved, if you have complaint, there is a complaint process that is entrenched in the law. There's a way that you can write, and whatever complaint you have will get to the appropriate quarters and will be addressed. And so you can write, you can complain on the basis of the particular business where you feel aggrieved, and not because you have come together as a union and you are now becoming a pressure group and you are now unholding or untwisting the government. That's why unionization will be difficult, because you are in business, you are in a relationship, you are to deliver. As we are committing public funding into your hand, we expect you to deliver, and the state enjoys value for money. To the understanding of your question, you may not be able to unionize, you may not be able to form a union, but see yourself as engaging in a relationship with government when you are doing business with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the DG. And the second half of that question, Mr. Akintu, please do us the honor of answering that. It is saying that, can the PPA review the present 20% to 40% mobilization or advance payment more upward in view of the present economic realities? Maybe Mr. Aki should also answer the follow-up to the microphone is there. Somebody said the initial 40% mobilization should statutory deduction be made on these payments? We need clarity, please. So I think you should just make the two together.
You can come back for the first question.
Can the PPA review the present 20% to 40% mobilization or advance payment upward in view of the present economic reality?
For the question, it's similar to what the director has said regarding to advance payments. The law is not static. From time to time, the agency reviews its law, the regulation, and the manual. The reason why the advance payment is 40 for now is because the government used the advance payment to control the funds of the state, because it will not be proper for everybody that is getting contract to take more than 40 for now, because there will be no economic factor that will be controlled. For example, for someone that is getting a contract of 10 billion, and we are trying to release advance payment of 70 to 80%, too much fund will go for that project. So for we to circularize the fund, that's why we put it to 40%. But for now, for future references, we can still agree at PPA to review our laws for 50 to 60 if the need be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akin. Before I go ahead, the owner of a vehicle with the registration number, 2 vehicles actually, KTU 987FT, KTU 987FC, and KJA 334GG. Once again, KJA 334GG. Please quickly repark your vehicles. You are obstructing the free flow of traffic out of this premises. Please, we need you to do that. Thank you very much. I'd like to quickly recognize the presence of the chairman, Lagos State Community Development Advisory Council, Alhaji Aziz A. Amsat. Thank you very much for being here, sir. The next question will be answered by Mr. Wasiu Onowoga. And the question is this: is there a timeline for the implementation of procurement process before obtaining governor's approval? Let me take that again. Is there a timeline for the implementation of procurement process before obtaining governor's approval? Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, procurement process is very dynamic, but we always ensure a situation where we will not waste much time. So that is why recently we released a guideline that, okay, for any MDA to go for any approval from Mr. Governor, it is very essential. The process must have been done right from day one, because we always encourage MDA to work according to procurement plan. And procurement plan has already indicated what and what to be done right from the procurement planning committee and determining the procurement methods and etc. up to the stage they do evaluation and the final contractor has been determined. So we expect that when the final contractor has been determined, that is when the request for approval should be sent to Mr. Governor, because Mr. Governor immediately he assented to that request. So his thinking is that within a very short period of time, his thinking is that at least the project must have commenced and even got to a particular stage. It is not when you get approval, you now go back to office and now begin to commence a procurement process. That is not encouraged at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onowoga. One of our online, thank you, sir. You can please take a seat now. One of our online participants sends this question. First, are the deductions to the Ministry of Justice and LSPPA 0.5 and 0.25% respectively only peculiar to only large contracts? What I mean is, for operational expenses, e.g., repair of office doors and windows at a sum of 50,000 naira, are we expected to deduct those from the vendor's quotes? I think Mr. Kelechi can answer that. I hope you got that question. Yes, he says are the deductions to the Ministry of Justice and the LSPPA 0.5 and 0.25% respectively, only peculiar to large contracts? What I mean is, for operational expenses, e.g., repair of office doors and windows at a sum of 50,000 naira, are we expected to deduct those from the vendor's quotes? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Statutorily, according to a head of service circular, for every project Lagos State is engaged in that involves the drafting of an agreement, there has to be deduction of agreement fee. Now, for projects 100 million and below, statutorily it should be 0.5% deducted as agreement fee. For projects above 100 million, that would be 0.25%. Also, for every project that passes through a procurement process, there's also an administrative fee charged by the agency. And that administrative fee is pegged at 0.25%. However, the agency recognizes certain small projects, recurrent in nature, that involves minor repairs. Now, for such projects, it doesn't require payment of an agreement fee, because usually an agreement is not drafted. And for such payments, for such projects, it also doesn't involve the payment of administrative fees because PPA approval is not obtained. There's a particular threshold for projects that would involve some form of approval from the agency. And so when we have small projects that fall below this threshold, administrative fee for PPA is not applicable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelechi. Now, another online participant is asking, judging by the last presenter's lecture, the state is gravitating towards green procurement. However, how is this being promoted, judging by the fact that state auditors usually request to see physical documents only most of the time when auditing the procurement units? This obviously does not encourage green or e-procurement. The DG, please could you speak to this? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Just like I said during my presentation, you see, a change is what we are bringing on board. And as much as we are doing so, we are also trying to hold other agencies of government to align with this migration or this change that we are bringing on board. And I specifically mentioned CIA in my presentation because I appreciate that we perform similar role. We have control functions. Well, if for now they are demanding for your evidence in paper form, we can understand, but we are taking it as responsibility to also encourage them to move as we are moving, but it takes time to be able to do so. So take it that it's still part of the change management that we are doing that will enable them also to be able to view our activities at the end of CIA, as CIA end, to the extent that they press a button, what they'll be able to view online. So we have also taken that responsibility to allow CIA access our dashboard. And so when we are able to achieve that, this issue of requesting for your paper evidence will go down. But while that is going on, please comply with whatever they're asking you to bring for now. Because like I said, it's a change, it's a migration, it's a departure from what we are doing. So as we are doing green, I trust that other MDAs will come along with us, but it's gradual. It's gradual. So thank you.
Don't return to your seats yet, sir, because you have the next questions as well. There are two in one, really. The procurement of goods from OEM. Is the procurement of goods from OEM more advisable most times instead of going through vendors, since we're trying to achieve value for money and get good quality? Also, it has been observed that OEMs usually request 100% advance payment on procurement of goods. How should we treat this, considering that the quotes from other vendors who will buy from the OEM have almost 1 million naira difference in their costs when compared to that quoted by the OEM? Yes. Yes, I think so.
Thank
yes,
you
sir.
so much.
So,
So what we are saying here is that as much as we support the idea, and I'm happy that the person who presented the future of procurement, we are going to get to that point gradually. For now, we are dealing with service providers who must exist on the database of public procurement agency. We also open the space for everybody to also come onto the platform and do business. So at a stakeholders engagement like this, which we will do regularly, we also give them an opportunity to also be part of us. So if you are part of us, you will come with suggestions. We'll look at those suggestions, just like the example that has come up, and see how do we manage the situation. Then the truth is that if it's good supply, which is largely done by the OEM, when you are able to supply, you can request for your payment. When for milestone, I'm happy those who attended to mobilization and responded by saying we need to appreciate that we are using scarce resources, and we need to ensure that it is utilized in a manner that it spreads and cuts across to the extent that no supplier or vendor suffers because we want to pay a bigger contractors. And that's why we need to manage with percentage mobilization. So if you have goods to supply under the online, the moment you can also key into some deduction from source, because government survives using public fund in terms of tax payment, whether it's the withholding tax, whether it's VAT and so on. If that element can come into the space of your business, we will be ready to do business with you. And if the moment you are able to supply and the users are able to certify that you have actually supplied and is in good condition, you can also enjoy your full payment, which is 100%, because that is where you belong. What you require more is 100% payment. But before payment is made, auditors must always certify that you have supplied goods and we are enjoying value for money. I think largely that will have answered the questions on this, the OEM, the 100% payment that they expect, the tax deduction that must be paid to the state, and how the payment can be handled. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the DG, sir. And well, you can take your seat now, well, for the time being. Thank you very much. So Mr. Wasiu Onowoga will be taking the next question. And it is also online from one of our virtual participants. It says, is APG requested for procurement of goods if advance payment is involved as stated?
Yeah, thank you very much. As we are all aware, there are three categories of procurement. We have goods, works, and services. And duration in terms of execution differ. Like in terms of works can continue like maybe 2-3 years or minimum 6 months to 9 months. But when it comes to goods is something that once the process has been completed, within 2 to 3 months, the execution can be completed. It's very, very fast. Like when construction of school, for instance, when you a newly constructed schools, you need the furniture. But in the course of construction, it takes some time. The furniture is easy to deliver furniture within maybe 2 or 3 months. We expect you as the supplier of goods to have them in stock. It's not a matter of you going to another third party. You are already a supplier. We don't expect you to constitute another third party where you now go and get the supply of the goods. So we expect that you supply and obtain once your supply conform with the necessary specifications. So you obtain your payment 100%. So advance payment is not necessary for goods, except that when it is an international importation of such goods, then that can be considered for advance payment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onowoga. And the next one will be taken by Mr. Akintunde. E-procurement take care of the government's agency that deal with buying and selling That is, when taxes and other administrative charges are added, will offset the selling price and make government products higher than the open market. Some of the companies might also not want to register with the PPA because they produce the goods in demand. I hope you get that. It's a lengthy one.
I'll try and answer it to the best of my, as much as I understand. Now, first of all, for agencies of government that provide services or produce goods, the Lagos State Printing Corporation, Ibile Oil and Gas, when other agencies of government, other MDAs do business with them, they are not treated exactly like other service providers. So it's like, if we do that, it's like I'll be taking money from my right hand, my right pocket, and putting it into the left pocket. So they are not to pay certain taxes. They are not set up most times for profit. So the kind of contract we go into with them is slightly different from what we do with other service providers. And then talking about the taxes and the deductions that may make their services more expensive than what we can get outside. All these would have been taken into perspective. So we're saying that a government agency that is going into the provision of services would have thought of how much, or services or products, would have thought of how much those items are obtainable in the open market. And of course, government going into these services or products means that we are sure that they can do it at a better rate. So we expect that the government agencies would compete favorably with or without the taxes. But then, like I had said earlier, certain deductions will not be applicable to them. For instance, WHT, withholding tax. They don't pay withholding taxes because they are not set up for profit making most times. So I think largely the competition between government agencies providing services and products is not exactly the way it will go with other agencies, but we still allow them to, compete favorably with the third party or private service providers in the market.
Thank you very much, sir. And the next one, Mr. Kelechi will please do us the honor of answering this question. Now, can tax compliance status be integrated across MDAs for contractors so that once the PPA registration is successful, then it should be accepted by all MDAs for contract award and payments? Let me take that again because it's short. Can tax compliance status be integrated across MDAs for contractors so that once the PPA registration is successful, then it should be accepted by all MDAs for contract award and payment?
Thank you. Okay, now what PPA does at the point of registration when we ask for evidence of tax, it's not like we want to confirm the level of compliance. The essence is just to ensure that such a contractor is in the tax net. And so any minimal compliance such a contractor shows by showing us some form of evidence that he's been recognized by LIRS, that's acceptable by us. Now, in the past, what happens is a situation where PPA would need to revert to LIRS to confirm the acceptability of such tax documents, but that has changed. And the essence of changing that is so that we can speed up the process of registration. Now, what happens is if you give us any document that signifies to us that you are included in the Lagos State tax net, at that point, that's acceptable to us. The job of PPA is regulation of procurement, not regulation of tax. So that's within the purview of LIRS.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelechi. Thank you. So Mr. Onowoga would please take the next two. I'll take the two together to make it faster. Can PPA approval be obtained prior Mr. Governor's approval and relevant sign-offs? Can PPA approval? Sir?
I've spoken to that one.
Oh, okay, you've spoken to that. That means it was, so the second one is, how do you fix a commodity price at the beginning of the year when you cannot tell the inflation rates as found in our country, Nigeria? That's basically.
Okay. So, as we are all aware, we know inflation can come at any time. So, but you know, procurement has taken care of everything. So that is why procurement is very, very dynamic. And there is a gospel we have been preaching to all MDAs in the past. And that gospel has to do with embracing what we call framework arrangement. Framework arrangement can be used to execute any type of procurement method. This is how it goes. It still involves an open competition, even where we have selective tendering. That is national shopping, where we have a minimum of 3 competing bidders. So at the end of the day, where we have one as the winner. But prior to that competition, we already indicate in the request for quotation that, okay, at the end of this exercise, whoever becomes the winner is going to lead to a framework agreement, in the sense that our requirement for that year, especially frequently used items like stationery, for instance. So we say that probably the budget for the year is about 5 million. So whoever becomes the most responsive among those 3 will be the person that will supply the stationery for the entire year from January to December. But it will be stated in the procurement document that whoever wins at the end of the day, the price you are giving us today, this January, that is going to be the price not change. So that is why we always, as I mentioned earlier, we encourage suppliers who are independent, who does not rely on another third party, who has all we need in their store that will last for the next 1 year. So in that case, it is already known to him before going into that competition. It's already known to him. So it's not left for him to now decide that, okay, I want to be part of it or I should back out. But once he has taken part and at the end of the day, he now becomes the winner. So the onus is now on him to ensure that that price is maintained between January and December. But there are some exceptions, like there are some commodities that are beyond our control. Like for instance, petrol. We cannot control that. If government should come around tomorrow and say the price is no more 125, it is now 250 naira per liter. So there's nothing we can do about that. But then it will still be stated in that procurement document, circumstances that could lead to change in the price agreement. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And the next one will be taken by Ms. Adiola Sonwo. I will just read the 2 questions. So please just listen. The first one, shouldn't contracting have some, I think the person meant, shouldn't contractors have some funds for business before applying for business? And the second, please, what efforts has the agency on feedback time, on clarification questions during registration period. I think feedback time and clarification, that it takes longer time to have responses from the agency. So those are the two, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mama. Good afternoon, everyone. The first question about contractor having adequate funds before executing a contract. Like, if you are a contractor, you should know your financial capacity. It is not in the purview of the agency to determine if they are giving you this class. In as much as you register for the class you wish to belong, it is not, maybe we get there one day. That's what I can say about that. But as a contractor, you know your financial capacity, and I don't think you can offer a contract that you don't have the financial capacity to operate. The second question, I want to disagree with that feedback time period. Now, before we request for some documents, but now we want to make the process seamless to every vendor. The feedback time at most is 48 hours. That means 2 days. If you apply on a weekend, like Saturday or Sunday, you give us, you don't expect us to reply. Maybe you are applying as in you registered on Saturday morning. You don't expect a feedback until Tuesday or Monday. So the feedback period is working hours, working days that we count, not weekends. So we should get that. So the feedback time at most 48 hours. Thank you.
We're going to the DG, sir, please. Sorry, Oga, you can't sit too comfortably today. So the first one, please, the question on deduction of statutory on mobilization fee paid has not been answered. And the second, please, how can the government or PPA assist on the statutory deductions for SMEs? 15% to 16% is a bit high, considering quality. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. The issue of deduction from source is a decision of the supplier or contractor. And so you are committed. We make you to commit yourself to that deduction. And honestly, this particular provision, we give it to Mr. Governor because he needed a lot of projects to take off in good time. And he is mindful of the political environment. And so within the space of ensuring that project is delivered and project mobilization can occur, at a point when the person who is providing the service has some financial issue, he requested that we should be committed to deduction from source. You enjoy your mobilization. But the point of payment is aware that you are committed to that deduction from source. That is the deduction from source element. Now, it's also important to note that the issue of deduction is likely not the responsibility of the agency. The payer, it's still Lagos State that is paying you though, but the payment is done at the State Treasury Office. The CIA, the STO work together on everything called deduction. But what we do is to encourage you to appreciate that what you are doing is business. So when you are doing business, there's always an expectation. Some people have not done business with the public before. So sometimes it costs to them. They realize it, they know it at the point where deduction is being made. But one of the things that I'm happy that we are privileged to share at this Stakeholders Forum is the fact that when you are doing business with government, What keeps government running is those deductions that we obtain from the service that you are providing, from the contract that you are doing, and all other services that you may have to provide for government. There are countries that do not have oil. There are countries that do not have resources that we can boast of. But through deduction, through tax payment, they are able to run those countries and services are provided. You know, deduction is an opportunity to spread the wealth, to ensure that those who are not able to participate in government business are also able to enjoy good road. They're also able to enjoy good school. They're also able to enjoy the various facilities of government. So for those that are contracting, you must always be willing to release those deductions. So that's one way of ensuring that government meets the yearning and aspiration of the people. And you know that it's not everybody that will benefit from contract. So the only way the public can benefit from the service they are providing is the payment of WHT, which will always encourage you to remember that it's a must to be taken. Because from the service we are providing, we know that there's some element of markup for purpose of profit. We know that there's some element, you are going to enjoy some profit from that business. So it is your responsibility to pay withholding tax because you are enjoying some profit. It's also as users, as beneficiaries, all the VAT that we deduct, we are doing it on behalf of federal government because they will come and ask us, where is the VAT? You are aware that Lagos is a major contributor to VAT into the purse of the federal. And any time it's not deducted, the FRS come after us and ask us, where is the VAT that is due to be paid to federal government? And when they calculate and they know what the figure is, they are always willing to take it from source because we are going to benefit from this federal allocation. And so at the point of releasing the federal allocation, and they have calculated that which the state has not remitted, it is taken. And each time it is taken, we also need to realize that it is taken in favor of those organizations, of those service providers. So they are entitled to their e-receipt. They can demand for it. They can use it even during assessment. So for every WST that you pay, for every VAT that you pay, is your own. You would enjoy e-receipt, you will for both. And at the point of assessment by various tax agencies, both at federal and at the state, you can always present it and it will be used to assess you to determine what you have to pay in a particular year for as tax payment. So that understanding is very important. And that is what the state is leveraging on to ensure that dividend of democracy is available to the citizens. Thank you very much.
Please don't take your seat yet, sir. Bello says, does PPA have any inputs in the rates? Because the rates are low and does not represent market reality.
Okay, rates, that's the, okay, LBS, that's Lagos Bureau of Statistics. Now, thank you. Let me sincerely appreciate that question. You see, currently the frequency of going for market price survey, we are encouraging LBS to increase it. The reason is that we are in the era of galloping inflation. When a price that you think you are putting together now becomes unrealistic very soon. So we are working closely with Lagos Bureau of Statistics, which is the agency of government saddled with, collection and collation of market prices. Currently, as I speak with you, it's done on a monthly basis and is released on a monthly basis. So that handshake will continue. The handshake will continue because, and that's why I spoke to the series of agencies that we have to do business with, that the fact that we are privileged to hold a stakeholders forum is a reason why we must get back to them to say this is the yearning of the people, to say the frequency of data collection on market price needs to increase beyond the monthly. If it's possible to begin to do it fortnightly, because they are our source of data when it comes to market prices. So if they increase the frequency beyond the monthly to fortnightly, I think we will be getting more realistic that is in tune, that is in alignment with realities. So for fortnightly, we will communicate to LBS to increase the rate at which they collect the market price data. To do so much that I can say on the rate and to make it more realistic.
Thank you, sir. You can relax for like 2-3 minutes. Thank you very much, DG. Okay, the next one, I would like Mr. Kayode to please respond to that. It says, what is OCDS?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. What is OCDS? OCDS simply means Open Contracting Data Standard. In layman's terms, it just means putting contract open to the public in a particular standard. So basically, how you can access it is just to go to our website at www.lagosPPA.gov.ng. Once you open it, you see it just at the top bar, OCDS portal. Once you click on it, it opens all the projects imputed there. So simply, you can actually find any project Lagos State has been registered. You can find it on it. You can also filter for a particular month, particular range, even for all the COVID that we didn't plan, that was not in the procurement plan. Everything has been imputed there. All the COVID, all you can actually just search, just type COVID. Any word of anything you're looking for is there. Also the agency, where you can view the agency, you can view the contractor, you can view the amount, you can view the procuring method, you can view whether the contract is static, whether it's ongoing, whether it's completed or terminated. Everything is there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kayode, for that. The next one, Mr. Kelechi, you please take that. I don't believe it is fair for contractors, for contracts below 100 million naira to pay 0.5% tax to Ministry of Justice, while contracts above 100 million naira pay 0.25% as tax. A 99 million naira contract will pay more than a 100 million naira contract. Please review.
Thank you. Now, one of the things we hope to achieve here is to be able to go back to the drawing board and change certain things. And so this is a learning process for us. I'll add here that agreement fees, 0.5% and 0.25% was implemented during the last administration. So one of the things we can do moving forward is to review it. And in reviewing it, we need to understand the reason why it was put as such. And that way we can be able to determine if we can make changes to it or we should make changes to it. So this will be one of the take homes. The agency will look at it in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice, and as soon as we decide to make changes to it, with the reasons why those changes are being made, that will definitely be communicated to all our stakeholders. Thank you.
I was expecting the applause on the please review. Thank you very much, Mr. Kelechi. Okay, Mr. Aki, you'll take this next two questions. Mr. Aki, the first one says, please, some of us would like to be enlightened about the Bidding Go, the online platform for bidding. And the second is that what efforts is the Lagos State PPA making in getting all registered contractors informed of new jobs or tenders?
Thank you. For the first question, I've been asked the first question several times. Some contractors have started asking me this question since last year. Whenever they come online, they see Bidingo. Bidingo is our foreign partner for e-procurement, while the KKC is our Nigeria partner for e-procurement. The KKC linked Bidingo and the agency together, but our Nigeria partner is Bidingo. For Bidingo, we have 4 platforms. We have the registration platform. Even though if you log in through the PPA, it's Bidingo they are going to see, because they are our foreign partner for now. So we have 4 platforms. We have the registration platform. We have the PPA platform. Whenever we are approving, we see Bidingo. We have the MDA platform, where the MDA requests for approval instrument. And we have the contractor platform. So why I always ask this question several times is from the contractors. Whenever they want to upload their documents, they are expecting to see Bidingo, they are expecting to see PPA, but they are seeing Bidingo. Like I always answer the question that for now, in Nigeria, before you leave your father's house and marry, you still bear your father's name. Until when you now marry, you bear your husband's name. For now, we are still with Bidingo, but in future to come, everything will be changed to PPA. Thank you.
The second question,
The second question.
Informing contractors about new jobs and tenders.
For new jobs and tenders, anytime there are new jobs for the agency or for any MDs, since you are a registered valid contractors, anytime there is a new job, your valid mail that they used to register, there will be information given to your mail. That's why we always advise contractors to register with their valid register company name, company email. Sometimes when people want to register, they will send their maybe PA, some errand boy. And when they get to PPA, they will not register with the company email. They will register with their own mail, maybe the PA's name. And when a new job is on board, the new job will be sent to the email of the person that used the mail to register. So that's why we advise for any contractor to register with the company valid email. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the next 2 questions will be going to Mr. Onowoga. The first, requirement threshold for projects. Please, should the document requirements for a less than 50 million naira contract be the same with a contract threshold of above 100 million? The documents required for less than 50 million, should it be the same with 100 million naira threshold? And what is PPA doing to strengthen the mandate mandates the use of framework contracting arrangement templates in driving frequently procured items by MDAs? What is PPA doing to strengthen and mandate the use of framework contracting arrangement templates in driving frequently procured items in MDAs? Thank you, sir.
Well, on the issue of procurement documents, normally it varies from category of procurement. It also varies with the threshold. Like there are some thresholds, maybe 50 million and below, that falls under national shopping. And mostly the procurement document we use for national shopping is a request for quotation. So it's a very simple document and the number of pages are very few. So, you know, all they simply need to put there is just maybe if it is for goods, for instance, the specifications of the goods, then the tax is expected from the suppliers and etc. are put there. But when the threshold is higher, maybe 100 million and above, we don't expect you to use the same request for quotation because we need more additional information. So that is why you have to go for bidding documents. Like for works, we have bidding documents for large works. So maybe the works is 1 billion and above. So or 500 million and above. So you need to use bidding document for large works. But for works that are of a smaller threshold, we have bidding document for small works too. So the same thing goes for goods. We have bidding document for goods also. So, but along the line, it is very, very critical that everything, whether you belong to goods, works, and services, experience, that's what we call the general experience and specific experience. General experience, you can be a contractor, you call yourself an engineer, and as an engineer, that doesn't mean you are good in road construction or as well you are good in building construction. So we have to clarify between the two. So the specific experience has to show that, okay, that particular contract you want to bid in at that particular time, do you have that specific experience? Like, for instance, you want to bid for road construction. We expect that you have done a similar job, a similar road construction in the past 5 years, at least in 2 similar jobs. So, and there must be documentary evidences, like saying, okay, award letter they issue to you while you were obtaining that job. So having successfully completed that job, what about the certificate of job completion they gave to you? There are some contractors, they get the job, they get the award letter, but they did not execute the job. The only evidence to prove is that the evidence of certificate of job completion issued to him after successfully completing the job is what can convince us that he has done the job successfully. So where he has an award letter, a certificate of job completion in 2 similar jobs in the past 5 years, we are specific about that 5 years simply because, like recently, somebody wanted to prove he had specific experience. And when I look at the document, the jobs were executed in 1995. And the technology at that time and this time has changed, you know, from time to time. So that is why we lay emphasis on 5 years, which is very, very recent. So it will be very easy for that particular contractor to fit into exactly what we need. So that is for the procurement documents. Yes, madam, what's the other question? Okay.
Sorry, let me just get. What is the PPA doing to enforce or mandate the MDAs on frequently procured items or something?
Okay, yes, I spoke to the issue of framework arrangement before.
Yes.
So actually, as I'm speaking now, some MDAs, they are actually using it. But if we want to say what percentage, maybe about 5%. So, but we will still continue to encourage, we will still because it is easier for MDAs to embrace frameworks in the sense that whether you like it or not, frequently used items, you know, cut across the entire year. Like stationery, for instance, you use it every day. your pool of vehicles, you need petrol in those vehicles. And in your gens and etc., you use some cleaning materials, so which are frequently used items. So, and we will continue to encourage them because I don't really know why some MDs don't want to embrace, but at least it has really improved significantly from last year to this time around. So we'll still continue to encourage them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Onowoga. Now, the last set of questions will be answered by the DG himself. I'll take two. So when you're through with that, I'll take the last one. Can the PPA help contractors in the area of receiving all the evidence of deductions on the contract sum after completion of the contract, e.g. VAT? And the second one, which pricing, procurement, or budgets should MDAs utilize? Which pricing, procurement, or budgets should the MDAs utilize?
Thank you very much. Let me start with the deduction element.
Evidence of
Evidences
deduction.
of deduction. We know there are different points of payment. There are some projects where payment is paid at the accounts department of the agency. There are projects where payment is made at the State Treasury Office. So there are two different points. So what is very important is for contractors to know exactly where the payment was made. That's the point where the payment was made. Because it is that point where payment is made that deduction is taken. So when the e-receipt will come, it will be released to that point of payment. So it is necessary for you as contractor to demand for those e-receipts, because if any payment is made, for example, through PPA, the point where the payment is made is recognized by those who benefit, that's who benefited, sometimes LRS. So we can demand, the contractor ordinarily worked with PPA. So you can write to PPA through the accounts department for that e-receipt, and you should get it. So if the payment is made through STO, you are also entitled to write to STO to demand for those payments, those e-receipts that were released by LRS as a result of the payment that you have made. Because like I said, we are only making those payments on your behalf. We are only taking those deductions on your behalf. The moment you are aware of the point where the payment is made, you write to those locations and demand for your e-receipt. So you can now use it during the assessment. I think that answers the question on how to get your e-receipt upon deduction that was made at source. And you know that even if you make some payment by yourself, you get your receipt by yourself. So if it's deducted at source, so demand for it and you should get it. And I think we are taking note of this, and because this will be communicated to the appropriate quarters to ensure that those receipts are available on demand. So that we assure you we will do. Now the second question.
What pricing, procurement, or budget should MDAs utilize?
Thank you. The law permits us to also take prices, market prices. However, we are mindful of the fact that Lagos State is spending a lot of money to ensure that data on market is collected. And I always spoke to the frequency of collection, which we can always encourage Lagos Bureau of Statistics to work on. So life is about synergy and handshake. So it's when somebody is doing a thing, there's no point reinventing it. We can only encourage them to improve on what they are doing. So we recognize MEPB as that agency of government that is saddled with the responsibility of collecting market price data and analyzing it and communicating it. We can only work on the frequency. But at the same time, if you go through the cycle, we said there are times that we allow market, and because we final figure that we take always come from the bidders. So when we are doing evaluation, the price that we take, because we consider that information from Bureau of Statistics as a guide. So the price we settle for is usually the price presented and evaluated, and is coming from the third party, who is a service provider. So that is a way that we have been balancing the situation to ensure that we are operating with near current market situation. So the market price that is taken must always come from the service provider, the final one. Thank you.
And finally, sir, before you return to your seat, can PPA kindly look into the agencies, ministries that do not give mobilization to their suppliers? And even after delivery is made, it takes more than 30 days before they make payment, which is very, very discouraging for the suppliers.
Thank you so much. So like I said, the issue of handshake is a continuous thing. So it's still taken as part of our responsibility to continue to handshake other relevant agencies of government. Because in the procurement cycle, the process is not complete until the contractor is paid. And if contractor needs improvement in payment, so it behoves us to take that with us and put it together as part of the request from this gathering. And it's going to be communicated to the appropriate contact. But one thing I can tell you is that the payment arrangement has improved over the years. You know, it was in one of our engagements, somebody told us that he's been holding a mobilization bond for several months and has not been mobilized. But I think the story has changed with this government of Mr. Abadji Olusola Sanwo-Olu, but there's still room for improvement. So that question is noted and to be taken home to the appropriate authority. Thank you.
Please, can we put our hands together for all our panelists, starting from the DG, Mr. Onofowote. Thank you very much, sir. Is our communique ready now? Is our communique ready? Okay, since they're still getting the communique ready, I'm sure we all registered and we all have our emails. DG, do you have your permission that the communique will hit our mailboxes, and how soon will it hit our mailboxes, sir?
You know, we are driving with technology. I want to believe that we have all made our emails available. And so within the next 24 hours, you will receive the communique on your email. That's a promise from us.
I think he deserves a better round of applause. Thank you very much, sir. You know, he was supposed to present the communique, but he just presented a promise that it will get to all of us in 24 hours. The DG, sir, and all our panelists, thank you. But I'm not the one going to do a formal vote of thanks. You can please remain seated there so that we can just thank everyone here before we take our leave. And to move a formal vote of thanks, I'd like to invite the Director, Administration and Human Resources, Procurement, Public Procurement Agency. Please welcome to the microphone, Mr. Nuruddin Anibaba. I think he deserves a better round of applause.
Good afternoon, all. Yes, I sat down at the back and I'll be watching the proceeding with utmost attention. And as an HR expert, what I've gained today is so enormous that I'm so happy that I'm here. I don't know about you. I'm so happy that I'm here. But I've been asked to give a vote of thanks. I don't know where to start from, but I know the head of service was here. So we must quickly do that. I know in this age of e-procurement, the head of service will get our vote of thanks E. So E to the head of service, Mr. Akim Muriokola, say a big thank you to you. In spite of all the engagements that he had today, he was able to come here physically. We thank him very much. The SSG, the Secretary of the State Government, who was ably represented by Mrs. Tolani Oshodi, we say a big thank you to you, ma'am. The Commissioner for Finance, who is also the chairman of our governing board, we saw him and he's still looking at us. Hello, sir. We say a big thank you to you. The Attorney General Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Moyoshore Onigbanjo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Lagos State, we say a big thank you to you too. I can see him virtually. Yes, my own DG, because before, and you have my DG Osileyo, we thank you for coming. The KBSC, because it's not all the time that we see KBSC around us. We want to thank you for coming, sir. KBSC, the representative of the Council of Obas in general. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I heard that from Ministry of Local Government, the overall Director General of all CDAs, Abi, is here with us. The overall Ọ̀gá pátápátá ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ dìde kan rí yín o, àwọn tó mọ̀ yín. Àwọn náà control all the CDAs in Lagos State. Thank you for coming with all your members from all the senatorial districts. Abi, thank you for coming, sir. Our stakeholders, you are our own people. And in the customer tower, Abi, without you, we won't exist. We want to thank you because Tebawa Akoma Amawuroni. Thank you very much. The stakeholders, the customer, the client, service provider, and so on. Thank you. Then we want to thank all our directors, especially in procurement family. Thank you for coming. I can see them. They are looking at me. And also, body of permanent secretary, they are not around again. To head of service, but at the same time, the body of permanent secretary, I think they were around and they've left. So we give them thank you too. So to all our organizing committee, led by their chairman, our barrister. About try me. We thank you. With all your members, please stand up and let's see you where you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And to the press, without the press, nothing will happen. No. There will be a blackout tonight and tomorrow in the newspapers. We want to thank the press for coming. And Kimalok Bagbe, and Tiwa, only moderator, only compare. We want to thank very, very much. Thank you, my sister. And finally, to public procurement agency staff from the top to down. I want to thank all of you for putting up this outing. I want to thank you. I want to wish everybody journey masses back to your different destinations. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anibaba. At this point in time, we will all rise and take the national anthem, which will signify the close of this event. I am sure we have had a very, very fruitful outing today. Is it a yes? Is it a yes? Please let us put our hands together for ourselves, even as we will be taking the national anthem. Thank you all, and I wish a safe journey back to our various destinations. Good afternoon.